We've been told that fairy tales don't exist. But what if you were able to create a life for yourself that resembled your version of a fairy tale? Let's take a second and imagine that. How would you spend your days? What kind of people would be a part of your community? How would you describe yourself in this fairy tale? Is it filled with more passion, love, laughter, and joy? And when you think of this life, does it feel too far away from your current experience? If it does, that's okay, I've been there. During my childhood, daydreaming was a perfect way for me to escape. When I would daydream, I would picture a life where my passions paid the bills, so it didn't even feel like I was working. My community only consisted of people who fully loved and supported me. And I saw myself as an ambitious free spirit, confidently taking on the world and embracing all it had to offer me. But when I thought about it, it felt like a figment of my imagination until it slowly started to become my reality. What if I told you that the bridge between that fairy tale and reality is creativity? Personally, I'm of the belief that we are all inherent creators and that creativity is our birthright. Conditions of the human experience such as fear, poverty, mental illness, and more often hinder us from expressing the fullness of our creativity. Imagine these things as monsters, blocking your entrance to an enchanted garden where your creativity flourishes and your wildest dreams come true. And in order for you to confront these monsters, it takes a great deal of courage and faith that what's on the other side is worth fighting for even when you can't see it. For me, my monsters were severe depression and anxiety. For 11 years of my life, it felt like I was being hunted down by these larger-than-life creatures. And when they would catch me, they would beat me with feelings of fear, unworthiness, and an impending doom. But other days, I felt like I had finally escaped them until they returned back the very next day. From ages 10 to 21, I felt like a prisoner in my own mind until I discovered the power of creativity. My first exposure to creativity was through fashion and watching my mom get dressed for events. Because every time she would, it'd be a production, from the hair to the clothes to the shoes and the painted toenails to match. She made sure she stepped into every event looking and feeling her very best. And as I would sit on the edge of her bed, I could see the confidence radiating from her body as she completed each step. Fashion, at its core, is art. It's the visual expressions of our identities. Our bodies are the canvas and the clothing is the paint. As my fascination with fashion grew, and middle school approaching, it was my time to shine. I got to pick out my own outfits, and I was ready. I first started with color, and my first few outfits in middle school were solid one-color outfits. I remember I once went to school in an orange V-neck, orange basketball shorts, and orange apple-bottom high tops. Hey, I know it sounds crazy, and it looked crazy, but I had fun putting it together, and I knew that this was only the beginning of my personal style journey. Next, I moved on to accessories, and I quickly realized that accessories could take a basic outfit to the next level real quick, even going as far as borrowing accessories from my mom and my friends' closets to amplify each look. It didn't stop there. I even started watching YouTube videos so I could learn how to do my own hair so I could change up my hair as needed to be an extension to my outfit. I was fully committed, and every single night before school, I would lay out my outfit, I would think of my color scheme, I would assemble my accessories, and I would finalize my hair for the next day. And I would get into bed ready to see the outfit the next day. To the point where my mom was perpetually joking, is there a fashion show happening at school because you're always dressed up? But that's the thing. Fashion for me was so much more than clothes. For me, it was a way for me to express myself in a way I couldn't do through words. Because my depression felt so massive in my life, I felt like I needed to be small. And fashion gave me the permission to take up space and show the parts of me that I had hidden for so long. It allowed me to express my ideas and emotions through the patterns, colors, and accessories that would inform my outfits each and every day. It almost felt like armor. Armor against the world and armor against my monsters. When my armor was on, my true self would emerge with a larger-than-life personality and level of confidence only God could touch. But when my armor was off, I went back to feeling small and invisible. The first turning point happened for me in 7th grade. I remember I came home from school crying, and before I could make it to my bed, my dad looked at me and said, "Efua, what's wrong?" I said, "The kids at school are making fun of me, and they're calling me ugly." My dad looked at me and said, "Efua, do you think you're ugly?" Ugly? Ugly? We don't know her. She don't live here. And my dad said, "Efua, so what's the problem?" And he taught me a very valuable lesson, that I am only who I say I am. And when I stepped out that house every day, I felt like the baddest, okay? Truthfully, there was not a whole lot you could tell me. And so that affirmed for me that I had to remind myself when I stepped out that door every day, Efua, you're the baddest. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what's going on in the world. You are the baddest. So I started referring to myself as such because I refused to let my worth be defined by the opinions of strangers. When I walked out that house, I felt beautiful, confident, and ready to take on anything. The second turning point happened for me after my 21st birthday. I remember I was sitting in my car crying, and I looked up to the heavens, and I said, this can't be all life has to offer me. I'm tired of only the temporary relief I get from putting on my armor. I want to feel like that every single day. And in that moment, I was determined to see what was on the other side of what my monsters had been keeping me from. And with that, I had to confront the reality that the person who I was and the person I wanted to be were two entirely different people. That my monsters had caused me to live in a state of simply just existing, just trying to get through each day as it came, never thinking about the future because truthfully, I didn't think I'd be in it. And as a result, the person I had become was a person I had grown to hate because I couldn't find myself in me. When I saw myself, all I saw was a combination of the beliefs I had picked up along the way of what I should be, how I should talk, what I should want. And in all of that, I had drowned out my own voice. And the reason I got so much joy from fashion was because in those moments, I allowed that voice to come out, and I felt whole. So I had to ask myself, Efua, who are you before society, your friends, your family, your religion told you who to be? What beliefs and opinions are truly your own, and what are those that do not serve you? And how can you get back to a point of factory reset where you can be the full expression of all you are and honor that internal voice? And the first step in honoring that internal voice was making personal commandments for myself. The first commandment was no negative self-talk. I had to promise myself that no matter what was happening outside of me, I was going to create a world within that was full of kindness, compassion, and ultimately love. Because that unconditional love that I was looking for in others was a gift that I could give myself. And as soon as I did, those monsters got an eviction notice. Because that mind that they had once called their home was now a place of love that they could no longer invade. And they disappeared, and this time for good. And I got access to that garden and got to revel in all the beauty that makes me Efua. I was told all my life that I'm extra, and I took it as a bad thing, almost as if they were saying I'm too much for this world, that the intensity at which I love, create, and dream is overwhelming. And so be it. Some people might find it overwhelming, but none of that changes the reality of who I am unless I allow it to. Understanding that I have the power to surround myself with the people, places, and things that embrace this intensity. And over time, I started to love the person that I was seeing in the mirror, and I started to recognize more and more of myself. And I was determined to give her a beautiful life. So I sought out help in every avenue. I sought out help in my friendships, through therapy, through meditation, through nature, and ultimately in creating. Creating with no expectation of the outcome, but simply as a means to fully and authentically express myself. And before I knew it, my wildest dreams were coming true. And I was speaking in rooms of 300 plus people. I became a fashion designer and launched my own clothing brand. I have a community of people who love and fully support me. And I wake up every single day, walk into every single room as Efua Amissah-Aggrey, the baddest. So when we think back to that fairy tale life we envisioned earlier, let's explore how we can bring it into this reality. Let's identify what monsters are keeping you from your garden. Let's find a medium for you to begin to create and be able to express yourself more freely. Let's examine what beliefs are truly your own and let go of the ones that do not serve you. And lastly, let's explore what it would look like to be the full expression of you and build a life that is a true reflection of that. And I promise you that fairy tale life will be your new reality because we are all divine creators. And creativity is our birthright, the key to connecting us to our inner essence. And what a privilege it is to be fully you. Thank you.